Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Andy Carter. Thank you very much for checking out today's video because we're talking impact, the most important part of every single golf swing, because it's the moment we hit the ball. Everything that's gone on before it, from setup, takeaway, top of the backswing, transition, downswing, creating speed, is leading us to this point. It's leading us to impact because we need to be in the right place. Everybody knows that we want to get the weight onto the front foot. So for me as a righty golfer, I want to make sure I get my weight moving across to the left side. But how much? I think a lot of people assume that it needs to be 90% onto your left side, which is not the case. It just needs to be ever so slightly across into your left side, not so much as 90. The reason I say that is because the majority of people that I coach then try and move the head, the spine angle, the shoulders, so they're covering the golf ball. What we're starting to see now is that the lead shoulder goes past the lead foot, and that's where we do not want to be. We don't want the lead shoulder to go past the lead foot. That causes all sorts of problems in terms of the launch angle and the general angle of attack into the ball. It's going to make the angle steeper. We're going to deal off the club. Ball's going to come out lower. It's not going to travel as far. So it's massively important that we're able to differentiate and disassociate the upper body from the lower body. So as you start to come into the golf ball, this lower body starts to move into the lead side, but the head position, if you're hitting a mid-iron, stays over the golf ball. Same occurs then if you're hitting a longer iron, or if you're hitting a driver, the head position will stay in the middle of the stance, the lower body will drive towards the left, but the head will be behind the golf ball if you're hitting a driver or a hybrid. So I always say that the impact position doesn't necessarily change too much. Obviously the club changes, the way we're trying to hit the ball changes. So there are other fundamental issues that change throughout the impact positions with different clubs. I've got a 6-iron here, so I'm going to have the ball position just slightly forward of center in my stance. And as I swing into the golf, as I swing down from the top of the backswing, I'm going to really drive this right knee in towards my left, because again I see a lot of people lifting forwards as they start to try and rotate, almost like you're doing this just because you're meant to do it, not because it's a motion that creates a good impact position. So I would say from the top of the backswing, this right knee is going to drive into the left knee, so we start to get this sort of angle in the knees. Then the left hip is going to rotate left effectively. I often try and feel like my left pocket or my left glute is working behind my body, okay? So my right foot moves this way as a consequence of this. We don't want to push this side because you'll see that my lower body, my left hip's not really turned so much, okay? So a really good impact position will be very much generated by that transitional movement of how we're going to get into this left side. Now, I often try and get people to feel like their lower body's almost kind of creating more of a posture again as you spiral down into this left side. What it's helping players do is actually control a downswing path rather than kind of spinning, because a lot of people know that the lower body has got to rotate to the target, which leads to a spin, which is one thing we want to stay away from. We want to really feel like we're compressing down into the ground. We're using lots of ground force as we work down into the golf ball, and then we kind of spiral up and around into a finish position. So the legs have a key impact on how the golf swing is going to work. The legs create a lot of down force. The energy through the ground, the energy through the lower body is going to effectively spring up towards the left-hand side. So this is what's creating a very athletic follow-through position. If you're feeling like you're not really in a position to do that, so a lot of elderly golfers or higher handicap golfers with less kind of understanding of swing mechanics will generally struggle to really feel that ground force feeling. So what I want you to try and feel from there is almost that you're just kind of pushing that lead hip over the lead foot and then rotating, not too bothered about ground force until you get to a certain level of golfers. It's funny, a lot of people actually ask me, said, every lesson we do something different, or why couldn't you have told me that a few lessons earlier? And it's because as a player, or as a certain level of golf, you're not always ready for the next stage. I would never teach a beginner golfer about ground force. I would only be teaching them about getting across the left side and rotating, like keeping it very, very simple. When that becomes consistent, then you move on to the next level. It's always about moving up through the level. So I'm trying to approach this impact video as if it's a different, talking about the levels for every type of golfer. So if you're like an elderly golfer or a higher handicap golfer, or your swing speed's a little bit slower, or you don't have the confidence to really start to feel the movement of the ground force, you want to try and get this lead hip over the lead foot and then rotate. If you're feeling like you want to try and, if you're a single figure handicapped golfer and you're trying to create a lot of power in your swing, but you're trying to eliminate the arms a little bit more, you're going to really feel like you're kind of re-squatting into the downswing. You're rotating, your weight's moving into this left side. I often feel like my left glute's pushed back, and then we kind of rotate up through the ball. So we're creating a real kind of downward angle and then rotation. That way we get so much more kind of speed and whip through the ball. That was nice. Ooh, that's a lot more speed and whip through the ball, which is a great feeling because it's a powerful action. You're using the ground, using the energy and spiraling through. For those that want to just feel like they're transferring the weight, often going to stay away from the shoulders, moving to the left side, and really start to make sure you feel the left leg, just that right knee starts to move in towards that left knee. So once you're doing so, it's the lower body's gone forward. The upper body wants to stay, in this case with my mid iron, pretty much over the golf ball. Now I said it's a 6 iron, so it's slightly further forward. So my head will be slightly to the right, but not much, slightly to the right. And you just want to try and feel that the lower body really drives. And there's a big skill involved in this, and that's disassociating the lower body from the upper. Once you start moving to the left, like I said before, we don't want to move too much with the upper body. So you could do really good drills at home where you just kind of keep your upper body still and just push that right knee in and push the left glute back. So you just start to get that little bit of turn. Let that left foot also start to kind of roll on the outside. So you want to try and feel that you're really disassociating the lower body. Great drill for golf, because golf is all about disassociating the upper from the lower, and the better the golfer, the better the flexibility to be able to do that, the better the golfer generally is going to be. So these impact tips are very much based on every single golfer, whether you're a scratch golfer trying to use that kind of down force into the ground and then spiraling and rotating using the power up on the way up, or if you're just trying to get to the back of the ball. If you're often catching fat shots, or if golfers, if you think as you lift your head, generally the body weight's moved to the back foot, the right glute, the right hips moved over the right foot, you've rotated, you feel that turn, but you're on your back leg. And that's exactly the one place of many that we don't want to be. We never want to feel like we're rotating into this trail side. So for the golfer that just wants to get into the back of the ball, you want to really feel that. You want to feel that lower body start driving left into the back of the ball, staying well away from being on the right foot. Body weight moves in towards the outside of the left foot, and the knees play a big role. I think the knees are a great feel. Okay, this left hip, the left pocket goes behind the body, it goes left over the left foot and behind the body, and as a result this gets dragged. We never want to try and do that for the sake of it, because it's not making you rotate. So left hip drives over that left foot there, get that feel. I often do this before, you may see this on previous videos, I often do my impact position. I often just try and get the club back into position there, and then just try and feel that rotation. I try and drive down into the ground and feel the rotation of my body, and that's that way then I'm starting to really understand and get that compressed feeling. Because at the end of the day, oh that was nice, at the end of the day this is by far the most important part of your golf swing, impact position. We need to learn it, we need to practice it, we need to understand it, and then we can get a lot better at repeating it. Guys, I hope this video has helped. If it has, please jump in the comment section below. Loads and loads of golf tips, loads of content coming over the summer months. If you didn't already know, I'm going to be in the UK for 5 months this year, so I'm massively looking forward to getting back, although I may be quite busy with the birth of my first daughter, so I'll see what sort of life that brings when it eventually comes around. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button as ever, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'll see you again very, very soon.